Have you ever had that one friend you thought would be by your side forever? The one you shared everything with, from your deepest secrets to your silliest dreams. I had a friend like that. Let's call her Chloe. For years, Chloe and I were inseparable. We were more like sisters than friends. We navigated high school together, celebrated milestones, and supported each other through everything. I genuinely believed our bond was unbreakable. But as we all know, life has a funny way of surprising us, and not always in a good way. After we graduated and started our separate journeys into adulthood, things began to change. We didn't see each other as often, which is normal. Life gets busy. But the distance that grew between us wasn't just physical. It felt like an emotional chasm was opening up, and I couldn't figure out why. Our calls became shorter, our texts less frequent, and when we did meet up, there was an awkwardness that had never been there before. I tried to talk to her about it, asking if everything was okay, but she would always brush it off, saying I was overthinking things. I trusted her, so I tried to believe her, even though my gut was telling me something was wrong. The truth came to light in the most unexpected and hurtful way. A mutual friend, let's call her Sarah, sat me down one day with a heavy heart. She looked so uncomfortable, and I knew whatever she was about to say was serious. Sarah told me that Chloe had been talking about me, and not just casual gossip, but really hurtful, untrue things. She was twisting old stories, things I'd shared with her in confidence, and painting me in a terrible light to our entire friend group. She claimed I was selfish, that I only cared about myself, and that I'd abandoned all my old friends for my new life. Hearing this felt like a punch to the gut. I was completely floored. This was the person who knew me better than anyone. How could she say these things? My first reaction was disbelief, then a wave of deep sadness washed over me. It felt like a betrayal of the highest order. All those years of friendship, trust, and shared memories felt tainted. I spent a few days in a fog, replaying every conversation, every shared secret, trying to pinpoint where it all went so wrong. I was hurt, confused, and honestly, really angry. Why would she do this? What did she gain from tearing me down? The easy thing to do would have been to get angry back, to start my own campaign of he said, she said, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. It would just create more drama and more pain. I also knew I couldn't just let it go. These were my friends, people I cared about, and I couldn't stand the thought of them believing these lies. More importantly, I needed to understand why. I needed to hear it from her. So, I decided I had to confront her. Not to fight, but to understand and to set the record straight. Gathering the courage to call her was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. My hands were shaking as I dialed her number. When she answered, her voice was casual, as if nothing was wrong. I took a deep breath and said, "Chloe, we need to talk. I heard some things, and I need to understand what's going on." I could hear the shift in her tone immediately. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. I suggested we meet in person, at a neutral place, a quiet coffee shop where we could talk without interruption. She agreed, albeit reluctantly. The day we met, my stomach was in knots. Seeing her sitting there, she looked like the same Chloe I'd known my whole life, but there was a wall between us. I started the conversation calmly. I didn't accuse her. I simply told her what I'd heard and how much it had hurt me. I said, "Sarah told me you've been saying some things about me. Things about me being selfish and a bad friend. It's really confusing and painful to hear, especially coming from you. I thought we were best friends." At first, she was defensive. She tried to deny it, saying things were being exaggerated, but I held my ground, not with anger, but with a quiet firmness. I looked her in the eyes and said, "Chloe, I'm not here to attack you. I'm here because our friendship meant the world to me, and I deserve to know the truth." "Did you say those things?" Finally, her facade crumbled. Her eyes filled with tears, and she admitted it. She confessed that she had been saying those things. Then came the why. It all came pouring out. She felt left behind. When I moved on to a new chapter of my life, she felt like I had forgotten about her. She was insecure and jealous of my new experiences and new friends. Instead of talking to me about her feelings of abandonment and loneliness, she let them fester into resentment. Spreading rumors was her misguided, hurtful way of coping, a way of trying to bring me down to her level because she was hurting. Hearing her side of the story didn't excuse her actions, not at all, but it did provide a sliver of understanding. It wasn't about me being a terrible person. It was about her own pain and insecurity. It was a classic case of hurt people hurt people. I listened to her, really listened. I let her explain her feelings without interrupting. When she was done, I took a moment before I spoke. I told her, "I understand that you were hurting. I'm so sorry you felt left behind. I never wanted that. But the way you handled it was incredibly damaging. You didn't just hurt me. You damaged our entire circle of friends with these lies. You could have just talked to me, Chloe. We could have talked about this." I explained how her words had made me feel the betrayal, the sadness, the confusion. It was important for her to understand the full impact of her actions. It was a long, difficult, and emotional conversation. There were a lot of tears from both of us. By the end of it, we were both emotionally exhausted. She apologized sincerely, and I believe she meant it. But the trust was shattered. It was like a broken vase. You can glue the pieces back together, but the cracks will always be there. I knew in my heart that our friendship could never be what it once was. I told her I forgave her. And I did. I forgave her, not for her sake, but for my own. Holding on to that anger and bitterness would only continue to hurt me. Forgiveness was my way of letting go of the pain and moving forward, but I also told her that I needed space. I couldn't pretend everything was okay and go back to being best friends. The trust that formed the foundation of our friendship was gone, and I didn't see a way to rebuild it. After that conversation, I also took the time to talk to our mutual friends. I didn't badmouth Chloe or try to make them pick sides. I simply shared my side of the story calmly and honestly. I told them what had happened, why Chloe had done it, and that we had spoken about it. I just wanted them to have the full picture. It was about clearing my name and restoring the truth. Most of our friends were understanding and supportive, and it helped to mend some of the damage Chloe's words had caused. Walking away from that friendship was one of the most painful decisions of my life. There's a part of me that will always miss the girl I grew up with, the sister I thought I had, but I also learned a powerful lesson. True friendship is built on trust, communication, and respect. When those things are gone, you have to be strong enough to walk away, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Confronting the situation head-on with honesty and grace instead of anger and revenge allowed me to find closure and move on with my head held high. It taught me the importance of clear communication and the courage to stand up for yourself, even when it's hard. And ultimately, it made me appreciate the genuine, supportive friendships I have now even more. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It's a bit of a heavy one, I know, but I hope it can help someone out there who might be going through something similar. Remember to value yourself and your peace of mind. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more stories and chats. I'd love to have you as part of our community. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.